at the end of the webinar. pCloudy is giving away goodies for top 3 questions asked by the attendees. So make sure you ask questions and stand a chance to win goodies from pCloudy. Now, before we go ahead, let me introduce you to the speaker. Today's speaker is Avinash Tiwari. Avinash is one of the co-founders of pCloudy.com, part of Smart Software Testing Solutions. Avinash has more than 15 years of experience in product development and testing. With extensive experience in the area of software QA, test automation, and mobile app testing, Avinash has helped many organizations set up specialized test centers of excellence. Also nicknamed as the test automation guru, he is responsible for building, managing, and testing operations for the very large enterprises in the organizations he has worked for. Avinash pursued electronics engineering from the IIT Varanasi, followed by an executive program in general management, innovation, strategy, and leadership from the MIT Sloan School of Management. Over to you, Avinash.
Thanks, Sanal, for the introduction. And thanks again for facilitating this webinar. Very warm welcome to everyone from my side. It's really encouraging to see such large number of attendees. Thanks a lot for joining in. I hope we are going to have an enriching session. Though this mode of webinar does not allow interactive session, but please feel free to share your thoughts in the panel suggested by Sanal. Towards the end of the webinar, I'll try to share the thoughts and share with all of you. Let me begin by giving a brief introduction of who we are. So pCloudy is one of its kind cloud-based mobile app testing platform for developers and testers. It has more than 500 devices across Android and iOS, located across 3 geographies. And it's one of the first platform for mobile app testing on cloud from India. So we are very, very proud of that. More than 10,000 developers and testers have trusted us so far. And many of the industry analysts also have featured us in various forums. And Gartner is one of those. So you can go and take a look at market guide report of Gartner around mobile app automation tools. And SSTS, which is Smart Software Testing, is one of the vendors which has the end-to-end solutions around mobile app testing. So with this brief intro, let me give you a sense of what this topic is all about. So we are talking about continuous testing of mobile apps on real devices, which is the new world norm in today's scenario. So I'm going to talk about this topic into 3 broad areas. The first one, I'll try to cover some latest trends around the mobile apps and why mobile app has become so critical in today's scenario. Second is, and that's where most of our focus is going to be, understanding this whole continuous paradigm. And third, what is the role of testing when it comes to this continuous paradigm? And I'll also try to end this demo with a live, end this session by a live demo of our platform, and we'll try to showcase how does it fit into the topic of discussion. So we all set. So let's start the first topic of discussion. What's happening in the mobile app space? I'm sure you all would have heard about the digital transformation waves. It started with the advent of internet, but the real boom happened with the rise of mobile internet, which gave a jump of 10 times in terms of the number of people who started using mobile internet. And this is really pushing the world towards a digital economy. And needless to say that recent events in India specifically has given a tremendous boost to the digital economy. And this means that we all are going to make most of our digital decisions on a mobile device, primarily through a mobile app. Mobile apps, it means that mobile apps are going to be everywhere. While this second wave is continuing, mobile internet wave is continuing, the third wave has already started, which is the rise of IoT devices, Internet of Things devices. And in this context, I am particularly focusing on the emergence of consumer IoT, which is going to be the next big things in years to come. And you are already seeing the rise of smart homes, smart fitness, smart watches kind of devices. And we'll see more and more devices around us in years to come. Lastly, in this digital transformation wave, one of the biggest innovation happening today is in the area of artificial intelligence and robotics. And people are predicting that this will lead to a world where everything around us is a smart device. So we talk about smart watches, smart homes, but anything around us, maybe a chair around us, can be a smart device. That's the world we are moving towards. And if you have tracked the latest trends, Google launched its Google Home. I think that's just a beginning of things to come. So what with all this that we just discussed around the trends in the mobile app space, I want to emphasize the fact that in the future to come, mobile app and smart devices are going to be extremely critical for any organization. So be it enterprise, a small company, a startup, or as an individual, we all need to be ready for this upcoming future. So with this context around what's happening into the mobile space, let's jump to the second piece of discussion, and that's going to be the focus of today's webinar in the most part of it. It's understanding of the continuous world that we are talking about. And in recent times, it has become one of the most popular words in the app development space. What does it really mean? So at the fundamental level, the objective of this methodology is to deliver software updates or builds to the users on a nearly constant basis. It means that as and when the updates are ready, you push it to the users. Unlike traditional approaches where there were monthly or quarterly releases. So in this context, there are some frequently used terms that you must be hearing within your organization, and I'm sure a lot of you must be using this process already. So I'll just try to give a sense of what these terms are. The first term that I just wanted to introduce here is continuous delivery. And the core of continuous delivery, as you can see in the diagram here, is every code change has to be production ready. This means that every code change is built, integrated, tested, and pushed to a production-like environment in a continuous basis. And it is achieved through automated processes at every stage. And this is what is the real difference between traditional and continuous delivery approaches. So in traditional delivery approaches also you will see these stages: unit testing, QA testing, staging, production. But the real difference here is all these stages are controlled in a completely automated process. So you can think of it as an assembly line where one piece is pushed to the next stage in a completely automated fashion. Now, we talked about continuous delivery. In the continuous delivery, there is a box which is in red, which is a manual process, and this is a part of the pipeline where a lot of times organizations want to retain the control as to when do they want to deploy this change to production. And in a continuous delivery process, this could be a manual process. So once the code is ready for production, there is a manual push depending on the choice of the organization. But when we talk about continuous deployment, the push to production is also a completely automated process. So the only difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment is the stage where the code is pushed to the production. Code or build is pushed to the production. But a lot of times these terms are used interchangeably, but it's very important to understand the difference. Now, in both these processes, CI, CD, continuous integration plays the key role. So when I talked about the automation process of pushing the change from one stage to other change, that's driven by this process called continuous integration. So at a very bottom level, it refers to work done by a continuous integration server, which allows automated validation of the change at every stage, and then it pushes that change to the next stage. So that's a very simple definition of a continuous integration process. So with this high-level understanding or high-level definition of the terms, let's drill down and look at this process in depth. So in this context, just imagine a scenario where app development is happening, or probably any development is happening. So the way it starts is the developers will be developing their code in their local environment, or it can also be called their local developer branches. And as soon as they do a commit to the developer branch, the CI server detects that there is a push from the developer side, and then the automated process kicks in. And at this level, the automated process is more about code review, which could be in form of automated tests like code coverage, automated unit tests, static analysis, or more, depending on the type of application or the organization's need. As soon as this stage is complete, the CI server automatically pushes the code to a staging environment or a QA environment. That terminology can be different from organization to organization. But in the second stage, CI server automatically pushes the code from the developer branch to the QA or staging environment. And here also, as soon as the build is deployed, the automated test kicks in, and these tests primarily will be functional and non-functional tests. In an ideal CI/CD scenarios, these tests have to be fully automated, and QA team would have developed this script while dev team was making the change in the code. There are several methodologies to achieve this. That's not part of the scope of today's discussion. So approaches like test-driven development, behavior-driven development, there are so many other approaches to achieve this process where the automated scripts are ready as before the change is pushed to the QA environment. Unlike traditional environment where you start writing your scripts once the code reaches to the QA environment. Now, depending on the success of the automated tests, the CI server either informs the developer whether the build is pass or fail, and based on the success, the CI server picks up the code from pushes the code to the main line, which is the production branch. And from here, depending on whether the organization is following a process of CI or CD, the deployment goes to the production. And in case of mobile app, it will be either App Store or Play Store, or could be a distribution platform like Hockey App, Test Flight, etc. And as soon as the production push happens, there also automated test needs to run, and these tests are typically sanity tests, which will give us the final result as to whether it's a good or bad release. So I'll come back to this process again in the context of mobile apps, but let's look at the third part of the discussion here, where what is the role of mobile app testing in this journey. And we'll come back to this slide again in the context of mobile app. But before that, a very high level view of what the journey of a mobile app is. So if you look at the mobile app development cycle, the typical phases are business requirement, prototyping, UI, UX design, development. At the same time, in the CI/CD process, testing is happening, and then the deployment happens. Now, at each stage of the journey, whether it's prototyping or development or testing, there are two key requirements for any team. The first is the need of devices, because mobile apps ultimately has to be tested on a real device. In a lot of cases, companies do use emulators, simulators, but the real testing has to happen on the real devices. So there is a need of device infrastructure, and then there's a need of tool to automate the testing that we were talking about during the CI/CD process. So these two are one of the key requirements within the mobile app journey. Now, going back to the CI/CD slide that we were talking about, now we talked about in the mobile app journey, each stakeholders requires devices plus tools. So in the development stage, developers will be requiring the devices for their debugging and unit tests. In the QA stage, the QA team will require ready automated tests as well as the devices. And when the code is pushed to the production to run the sanity test, again, the automated tests and devices are required. So again, just reiterating the fact that these two, automated tests plus device infrastructure, is one of the key to enable the CI/CD process within the mobile app space. So just moving a little bit from only the testing piece, let's look at the overall tool set which are generally part of any CI/CD process. So there are so many tools listed here. Some of the names which most of you will be familiar with, tools like development kits for iOS, Android, automation tools like Appium, provisioning tools like Docker, test management, Jira. These are typically the tools which are used during the CI/CD process. Now, how does it all fit it in the cycle is depicted here in the slide. So if you look at this slide, in the core of it is the CI server, and right now I have used certain representative set of tools. These are not the only tools which can be used. So just a disclaimer, these are the tools which I have come across in working with various organizations, but there are so many other tools which can be used in the respective areas. So what I'm trying to say here is, in the core of it is a CI integration tool, for example, Jenkins, and then Jenkins drive each of the other area. So you have a configuration management tool like GitHub. Jenkins picks up the code from GitHub to create a build. There is a area in the dependency manager where the the code is checked from its dependency perspective. At the unit stage, there are quality gate tools like SonarQube, or there are other code coverage tools which can be used to build. Gradle or other Xcode tools can be used. I just wanted to focus more on the test side of it. So we talked about two key elements of the testing. One is the device infrastructure and one is the automated piece. So automated piece can be used by a tool named Appium, which is a very popular open source tool. And the device infrastructure is what we are providing as part of pCloudy.com. There are some other solutions as well. So that's how the overall tool sets fits into the CI/CD process. Let's just understand this in the context of a real life example from Facebook. So Facebook has, Facebook needs no introduction, and there are millions of users of Facebook app across the world, right? It's used on tens of thousands of mobile devices on daily basis. And so how does Facebook ensures that their apps run smoothly on all of them? And these devices have combinations of operating systems and network conditions. Just imagine what millions of users could have in terms of the variety of devices. So to ensure that their app works on such large variety of devices, Facebook has created an in-house mobile device lab in their data center. And this information is publicly available. You can read about this article in TechCrunch and other related forums. But the core of the lab that they've created is they have 2,000 devices stacked in 32 racks, and you can see the diagram of the rack. So each rack consists of 32 devices, and they have almost 60 such racks to accommodate 2,000 devices. So each time an engineer makes change to one of the Facebook's app, that automatically goes to this lab, gets tested in a completely automated way in a CI/CD process that we talked about, and post that change is pushed to the production for users to use. And when I checked it last time, Facebook was pushing updates twice a week for their mobile apps. And if you look at examples of Amazon and some of the other known startups like HubSpot pushes 300 updates in a single day. And that can be only achieved through the CI/CD process we talked about, and having as much automation as possible in that journey. So with this context, what I'll do is I'll try to show where does our product fit into this cycle. And to do that, I have segregated the demo into 3 different parts. In the first part, we'll look at how do we use the product in the development stage, where developers are looking at devices for their debugging and unit test. Second is we talked about automating the functional part of testing in the QA staging environment. How can we quickly create those automation tests and run that in an automated fashion? And third is how do we link it all through a CI server? Because as we saw, CI server is the core of any continuous integration, so continuous delivery deployment process. So we'll see these 3 one by one. So I have created few demo videos for this session. I'll take you through each of these one by one. So for some of you who are not familiar with the product, I'll just take you through a quick introduction. So pCloudy can be accessed through a URL device.pcloudy.com, and it has a free sign up available for anyone to do a trial. So as soon as you do a sign up, you get a free account and you can start testing your applications on a limited set of devices. So once you log in, you will see the list of devices available on the platform, and you can see these devices from various locations. We have locations across geographies, and right now we are supporting 3 locations: India, US, and Philippines. And we are coming up with more locations to give you more geographical diversity. So once you connect to a device, you reach a screen where you can see a device in a real-time streaming mode. And at this stage, you can control the device through the web interface the way you control a physical device. So you can virtually perform any action on the device through the web interface. And you can see here on the left side, there are so many actions on the device which can be performed directly from the UI interface itself, like the reboot, setting phone locations, changing Wi-Fi, etc. On the so on the top, there are so many other options available, which are quick actions like taking screenshots, changing orientations, etc. We'll quickly do an app installation here and see how it works on the device. So I'm installing an app, Zomato, which is a popular app in India. So once the app is installed, as we saw, it's just a single click installation. On the right side, you can see the logs and the performance reports, and you can track the real-time performance of the application in terms of its CPU, its memory utilization, battery consumption, etc. So while you are testing an application, you can also capture all these parameters. So this platform can also be used for testing mobile web application, apart from native or hybrid mobile application. So this can be tested in various orientations to check the responsiveness of the website. And while you are testing the web application, you can also use a lot of debugging tools. This is typically used by developers, where they can inspect the web app in a real-time mode directly on the device, and they can perform changes and see the change happening on the device in a real time. So that's a brief introduction. There are so many other features available on the platform, but just a quick introduction of what pCloudy is. So let's come back to the process in context of the CI/CD. So first part of the demo is around how do we enable access of devices for developers. So what you see here is the Android Studio interface, where I'm developing my application, and during the development, I want to test it on a real device and do a debugging by putting checkpoints, by putting debug points, etc. So on the top is, within the Android Studio interface, is a pCloudy plugin, and as soon as you click, it gives you an interface where you can choose any device directly from the cloud. So for example, I'm selecting a device Swipe Elite Plus here, and as soon as I do that, I get a command which I can run locally. So here you can see the command ADB connect and the IP port number. Now this command I can run locally on my terminal. So right now you can see here, if I directly do a ADB device, there are no devices attached. But now that I have run the command on the terminal, and if I do the same ADB devices, I can see the device is connected to my local system. And this device is available on a cloud. So I'm accessing a cloud device directly from my local system. And now that the device is connected, I can go and deploy my application on this device. So you can see here in the deployment target, from my ID interface, I'm able to see the device which I just selected from the cloud. And now I can deploy my application and start debugging the application in a real-time mode. So on the right side, you see the application which got deployed, and on the left side, you can see the code and the various debug points that I have put in the code. So I can perform my operations on the application, and it will change the line of code depending on the operation that I'm performing. And I can go on debugging the application. So here I can see a crash, and then in the console I can see the logs getting streamed as well. So in a real-time mode, I am able to debug my application on a real device which is available on the cloud, and you'll get the same speed of a device which is connected to your local machine. Not only that, if I want to run my unit tests, I can directly do that from my ID interface. So I have created an espresso test here, which I am running directly on this device. Again, the same process. I selected my deployment target, and now this unit test is running on the device, and I can actually see it running as well. And while the test is running, I can monitor the log. So on the left side, you can see the log pouring in and the steps getting executed. So this was one of my unit tests where I'm clicking on a button. Then the next is test dialog displayed. So I can see the steps getting executed in real time, and what is the status. If it's green, it's pass. If it's red, it's failed. So it's as simple as that. So this enables the developers to use any cloud device in a real-time mode as if the device is connected to their local systems. So this was the first piece of the problem that we are solving for developers, where they can run their, where they can debug their applications and run their unit tests on a real device. The second piece of the problem is for QA team, where we have a full-fledged automation engine which allows creation of automation scripts in a very simple and very quick fashion. So what you see here is the automation interface, and what I'm doing is recording as automation script for a mobile application. So I'm using a mobile recorder here. I'm choosing a device and choosing the application for which I want to do the recording. I have selected a device, Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, and you can see here the application is installed on the device, and now whatever I do on this application, on the left side the script is getting recorded. So like a functional tester, you can just go on recording the steps, and the scripts gets generated automatically by the automation engine that we provide. So you can pretty much execute your test case and get the script within a couple of minutes. And once the script is generated, we can start executing it on multiple devices. So we have just stopped the recording here, and what you see here is the script which got generated. So you can see here the steps like click, type text. These are very, very simple to understand keywords which got added as part of the script. And it has the full ability to enhance the script in terms of data driving, in terms of putting some logic to the script. But in a simple process, I'm just trying to run the script on multiple devices. So whatever we recorded, we can just put that in form of a suite, test suite, which is just a drag and drop process. And once the suite is ready, we can execute it on multiple devices within no time. So it just asks you to enter certain configurations. Once that is done, we'll be able to run that on multiple devices. There are some more settings like taking snapshots for all the steps. This is the place where I can select any number of devices for my execution. So on the left side, you can select different version of the devices that you want to choose for the execution, and on the right side, from a specific version, specific model can be selected. So let's say I select 2 devices for Android 6.0.1, and on these 2 devices, the test will run parallelly. So as soon as the test starts, the result starts pouring in, and you can see the snapshot of each of the step in the execution result. So that gives you a very high level view of how quickly the automation can be created. And as part of the CI/CD, I was talking about methodologies like test-driven BDD. All that can be used with the tool itself. So it supports test-driven and BDD-driven development for automation creation. So this was about the second piece where we want to use the automated scripts for functional testing. And the third piece is how do we tie it all together for the CI/CD through a continuous integration tool. So in this context, we are showing it using Jenkins. So what you see here is the Jenkins interface where we are creating a job for execution of a functional test, and the functional test that we just created. So this job, once created, can be associated to the build process. So as soon as any new build is deployed, the QA or staging environment, this test will get triggered. So on this interface, you can select the action. So here we are selecting execute tests on pCloudy. So it asks you to enter certain details in terms of the parameters, the validation, the credentials, the username, API keys, etc. So once that is done, and this is a one-time configuration. So once you do that, this job is saved and it will be linked to the build process. So in the step 2 here, we are providing the detail of the project, which needs to be executed as part of this job. And then you can select the devices for the execution. So you can actually configure the list of devices which needs to be used for the execution as part of the build process. There are some other configuration modes as well. So you want to do some random, you want to select some random devices, that also is possible. So now that the configuration is done, and if we say build now, so this is a manual step, but in a CI/CD process, it will be all automated. So as soon as the build now process starts, the test will kick in. And this test result will again come back to the Jenkins, and based on that, the further action will be taken, whether the build is pass or fail. So you can actually monitor here, or you can just leave it in an unattended mode. While monitoring, you can actually see the execution happening in a live mode as well, where you can open the device and see the execution. So you can see here on the right side, the execution session is listed. And once I click on the execution session, it will show me the device which we selected as part of the Jenkins job configuration. And we can see the execution going on the device. So you can see the test execution on the device here. So this is an optional step. In case of the real CI/CD, there's no need to monitor. The result will come back to the console and it will update the job status, and based on that, the next step will trigger. So this is how the tests are tied up in the Jenkins process or a continuous integration process. We also have integration with a lot of other CI tools, and we have open APIs which can be used to integrate with any new tool that you might be using, for which we don't have default support. So this was the third piece of the CI process in context of mobile app testing. So I'm just going back to the slide. We talked about three different parts. One is how do we use devices for debugging and unit tests in the development stage. Second was how do we use automated tests and devices in the QA stage. And the last one was how do we link it to the CI process. So that the platform pCloudy is capable of giving you all the three capabilities. So with this demo, I just wanted to sum it all that we just discussed in the session today. So we talked about how important mobile apps are in the digital transformation project, and the rise of mobile apps have also led to new way of application delivery models, and that's where one of the most popular model today is continuous delivery and deployment. And in that context, continuous testing is one of the key to the success of the delivery projects. And the third one is, in this process, until unless we have the right set of automation tool and good device infrastructure, it's very difficult to achieve the complete automated process that we just saw. So just a last word, pCloudy enables continuous testing for apps on the real devices. So with that last word, I'll open the session for any questions that you might have. Feel free to just put those questions in the question panel. I'll try to answer as much as I can. If not, I'll try to answer it separately and send it to an email. So thank you so much for your patience and listening to the session today. So there is a question from Mr. Anil. Is it possible to use the existing test cases of Selenium Appium to run on pCloudy? Absolutely, yes. So if you already have a framework or a script built on top of Selenium, Appium, Calabash, Espresso, you can directly use those scripts to run on parallel devices. We provide the integration code ready for all these tools. So it's just a matter of integrating the code and start using your existing scripts. The second question is from Dhananjay. The question is, does it support only Android and iOS devices? What about Windows? So right now we are only supporting Android and iOS. There is a very less percentage of usage on Windows application. So we have not planned anything around Windows as of now. The next question is from Ashish. Are iOS devices supported as well? Yes. All version of iOS devices, iPhones as well as iPads, are available and supported on the platform. The next question is from Preeti. Is load testing possible using pCloudy, like compatibility with LoadRunner? Yes, so we have integrated some of the load testing tools here. So far the integration has been with a tool called NeoLoad. So if you're running a load testing using NeoLoad, you can parallelly monitor the app level performance using pCloudy, and you can get the data in one common interface in the NeoLoad controller. So that's possible. Very soon we'll come up with integration with Loader as well. Question from Avinash. Does it provide network virtualization? Yes. So you can test your applications across various networks. So you can simulate networks like patchy, slow 2G, 3G, packet drops. So you can create your own network profiles and apply it on the device and test your applications. From Avinash, the second question is, pCloudy provide virtual devices for testing or physical devices need to be connected? So our platform is all about physical devices. We are not providing any virtual device or emulator or simulator. All the devices that we have on the platform are real devices from Android and iOS space. Question from Rama Devi. Can we run automated tests from single application on multiple devices at the same time? Yes. So that's one of the advantage of a platform like pCloudy. You can run your test on multiple devices, and when I say multiple devices, you can choose any number of devices. So you can run on 100, 150, 200 devices together. There is absolutely no limitation. We have customers who are running it on almost 100, 150 devices at the same time. The next question is from Preeti. Various cloud offering like Perfecto, Experitest, what would you call as differentiator for pCloudy? So there are multiple differentiators, both in terms of the feature, pricing, as well as the speed. But as of now, I'll just say that once you try the offering, you'll get to know what the experience is and what is the difference between these three products. And if you need specific comparison, I can send you separately. Next question from Ashik Ali. Can pCloudy support testing of web application or desktop applications? So we support testing of mobile web application, but not desktop web. So pCloudy is all about mobile devices. So it could be either mobile web application or a native or a hybrid app. So the next question is from Prasad Borole. Will it give performance statistics of every action performed? So in a way, yes. So as soon as you perform an action, you can see the change in the performance parameter. But right now, we are not. So once you look at the graph later, you'll not be able to pinpoint as to what I did. So you can open the video that we provide and then compare the graph and see which action led to a spike in the performance or which action led to increase in the memory consumption. So that's how the comparison can be done. However, very soon we are coming up with a feature where at each data point of the performance report, there will be a screenshot attached, so you can actually see what I did and because of which, what is the impact. Question from Mihir. What about Android devices available on the cloud? What version of Android devices are available on the cloud? So we are supporting all the existing Android versions that are available in the market, starting from 2.3 to latest 7.1, and we can commit confidently that any new version released in the market will be available fastest on our platform. Question from Soumya. For Android, what are the backward compatibility version that pCloudy is supported? So as I said, we have versions starting from 2.3 to latest 7.1, so you can choose any version that you are looking to test for your application. And the next question from Devino, how are reports generated and what are the formats supported? So as part of the manual test, we provide reports around logs of the devices, the performance report in form of HTML files, which can be downloaded, the complete video session, and all the screenshots that are taken during the testing. And these reports can be downloaded at any point of time. For automation reports, we are supporting HTML as well as PDF format. And you can also, if you are using your own framework over Appium, you can create your own reports by just fetching the data and inserting it in your report. A question from Prasad, does it have integration with JMeter? So we are integrating it as we speak now. So we did it with Neoload. We are doing it with JMeter as well. Question from Johnson, whether this will support native apps? Absolutely. Native, hybrid, and mobile web, all three are supported. Question from Avinash, when we test devices on cloud, are these devices and cloud server environment different from development and testing? So we have ensured that the devices are as close as real devices. Some of the services that we install on the device have very, very small footprints. So these are as close as any development or testing environment that you would be having inside your organization. Question from Sandeep. You have also not spoken on environments. How can they be configured in Jenkins? I'm taking about mobile website testing where complex environments have to be configured. Yeah, that's true. That's a separate topic altogether. We just briefly mentioned about infra provisioning using platforms like Docker and Vagrant. But that's a separate topic. If you need some information, I can send it separately. I'll take a couple of last questions, and then we'll close the session. Some of the questions which I'll not be able to answer, I'll definitely answer that over email. The last two questions. One from Swati, can we verify the battery usage and different network models like LTE, Wi-Fi, etc.? Yes. So the devices have three options. One, Wi-Fi. One, you can use this real SIMs. And third one is simulated networks. So all three options are available. And with each of the option, you can track various parameters like battery, CPU, memory consumption, etc. The last one for today's session, Abhilas, does it support integration with Appium tests? Yes. You can use your existing Appium scripts and whichever framework you have used, be it JUnit based or TestNG based or any custom framework that you have developed over Appium, integration is possible. One more question, can we do app security related testing? So not as of now, but within a month we'll be releasing the Android static analysis security with pCloudy. So that will be available very soon. So there are so many other questions that I couldn't answer, but I'll get the list of the questions and I'll send it over an email to all of you. Thank you so much for your response. I hope this session was fruitful to you. Sanal, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Avinash, for taking us through the webinar and giving us an overview of how the product works. Thank you, participants, for your presence. We hope you found the session useful. We have also uploaded the handouts of this presentation. So please, make sure you expand the handout section and you download the PDFs. And do visit Verity Software's website to stay up to date about our upcoming trainings and events. Thank you very much.